The idea of being scared straight has existed for a long time. It's pretty simple. You don't want someone to do something that hurts either you or them, so you give them a taste of a worst case scenario if they do decide to do that thing. Parents use it to teach kids lessons like what happens if you don't shower or brush your teeth. Teachers show students what happens if they don't take school seriously enough. The pinnacle of this thought exercise became a TV show. Beyond Scared Straight took youth to jails and showed them firsthand what their futures could be if they didn't change what they were doing. You always have to take any reality TV show with a grain of salt, but one would think that at least a few of those kids truly understood that they didn't want to go to jail in the future. However, I'd like to flip this principle on its head. Is it possible that more often we're being scared crooked instead of being scared straight? See, people operate off of a few fundamental principles: fear, love, and convenience. These three contribute to everyone's life in a slightly different way. If you stop and think, you can probably think of someone that operates almost exclusively off of each one of these principles. Regardless, no matter how unbalanced the slices are, everyone's pie has these three slices. That is, unless you've had damage to specific parts of your brain, those people have other problems to deal with. As you might guess, this piece will be looking at fear. Feeling, enhanced, apprehensive reactions. Fear is interesting because it has a hard time existing on the same level as other emotions. It usually dominates or gets pushed to the background. Fear tends to be one of the first emotions people experience in situations, although it can go away easily in the right circumstances. You ask a shy friend to sing karaoke, and you can see the fear invade their body. If they do end up singing, it's usually by suppressing the fear, or just pushing through in spite of it. Of course, there's a first time for everything, but people don't have to do something to know if they'd be scared to do it. The natural response to fear is avoidance. If you don't like animals, you won't spend your Sunday afternoon at the zoo. If you don't like water, you wouldn't have your birthday party at the pool, because whichever friend decides to throw you in will be blocked on every social media platform for at least a month. Avoidance is very clear and obvious with concrete fears like spiders and heights. But something I think we don't think about enough is those more abstract fears, how deep they can run, and how widespread their effects can be in our lives. You can imagine what the extent of someone's fear of thunderstorms might be, but how far do the effects of fearing family disappointment go? How much is someone's life shaped by a fear of loneliness? Is there any part of life that wouldn't be affected by a fear of failure? I'd say that some of us have been scared straight by our life experience, but most of us have been scared crooked one way or another. Have you ever thought about why your dating or partying always involves alcohol? You have an easier time doing things for other people compared to yourself. How come you can never start conversation with the people you need to talk to? Why is it so hard for you to actually take a day off? You know what job you want to apply to, you just won't submit that application. The list goes on, and so does the rationalizing. The more you listen to fear by yourself, the bigger it gets. Interestingly, when you let your fear talk to someone else, it tends to get smaller. Take that for what it's worth. One might think that being scared straight works for these intangible fears, but it's more complicated than that. You can tell people how crippling it is to live their lives controlled by the desires of others, but all they have to do to counter that advice is convince themselves that either they're the one in control, or that the desires of others are more important than their own. You can't scare someone out of people-pleasing. You have to walk with them out of it. Painting minimum wage jobs as a sign of a lack of success doesn't mean that your kid won't end up a 30-year school janitor. There's nothing wrong with that anyway. Fear can't be handled alone, because your perspective will always inflate the fear. A lot of us have fears that we've ignored or not even recognized for years, and it's bent us out of shape. How can you get things squared up if you keep circling around the same bush? Look at yourself. Think about your life. What are your deepest fears? Why are they there? And who will walk with you out of those fears?